G'day guys, welcome back to Cakes by Chopper. Today you can see we have Ben 10. We start off using our templates from the Facebook page in the cake template album. Print them out, cut out your background shape. This will be the template you use for the cake. Pop it on. When you're cutting this, make sure your knife is vertical all the way around because you don't want a wonky cake, and try and cut as close to the stencil you can without taking it in too far. Pull away your cake pieces, do any necessary cleanup to make sure this is very smooth on the edges. Sticking with the theme of Ben 10, I used the green butter icing to just put a very thin layer of icing all around the cake to seal it off and cover it, because we're going to pop that in the fridge and let it set, and then when we use our fondant, you'll see we've got a different way of doing it today. So let that set and then we'll come back to it. Using some copper, yellow and pink gel food dye, I got a flesh color, and I've used the parchment paper to put over the transfer, so I roll it out to exactly the same size or a little bit bigger, so we can cut it out and get the right shape we need. You only need this very thin. Don't make it too thick or it's just going to be horrible on top of your other icing. Paying close attention to how you cut out this transfer shape, because you want it to fit on top of your cake. And when you do the next layer for the hair, you need them to be the same size. That's the purpose of using these transfers, because then they stay the same. Cutting away the hair from the top transfer. This is what I call the detail transfer. It's got all the detail for the face that you need. I've turned some fondant brown, and I'm going to roll it out again using the same technique. So we've got the right shape and the right thickness for the hair. Once again, paying close attention to cutting out the shape as close as you can as to what you have before. Now I cut this into pieces to use the white highlight in the middle. You can see here I just measured it up to see where it's at, and then I get some brown gel food dye and paint in the hair. With this technique, I dipped it in a little bit of water and got the right shades I needed, and then brushed it in like hair strokes, following which way the hair fell. You get a more realistic look for it, as cartoony as possible, but I think it looks really effective, and be sure to trace the edges so your cake doesn't look unfinished. Cutting out the eyebrows, do the same thing, cut them out to the shape you need, keeping the same thickness. I actually forgot to do a little bit of the hair, that's why there's an extra shape there. So if you have any problems, you can just go back and redo it. So that's why I keep it off to the side until I know I'm finished. Using the white fondant for his eyes, cut out the eyes from the template, pop them on. Using a knife, just chop them out, and you can even these up and neaten them. You don't have to be too clean with them when you're cutting them out, because you can just always mold it back to where you need it. I use the impression tool to mark out where his eyes were, because the last thing you want is a derpy cake. You don't want his eyes looking in all different directions. I think this is a cool technique to keep that straight on look for your cake. Using the black food gel again, just to outline, it makes the eyes really pop, and because that'll be one of the main focus points of the cake, you really want to take some time and make those eyes look perfect. Taking the flesh colored fondant out of the fridge, laying it on top, and then marking out where the hair would be, and the water helps glue them together. And you can see, just use this as you would. I generally cut down as I go, and just keeping everything in proportion, so I'm not just guessing where things sit. I use the template as much as I can, because that's what it's there for, to help you. And you can see, if you make a mistake, just use a brush, push it out. I've got a few food dye marks on there. These clean up with a wet brush a wet clean brush and you just brush it on and it comes on. Using the black to add in a bit more detail. Now I used the gel as well to mark out where I wanted to pipe because I really wanted his face to be perfect. You can see it just really helps with that piping technique. I haven't got the best piping arm. I get a bit shaky, so that's a really good tip to use if you find you shake when you're holding the piping bag. It's always good to have a picture reference on hand so you can just copy and follow what you want to achieve. I use it off my phone, bit of a cheat. Now I've used some buttercream that was dyed purple and green to just line the edges, and then some black to put the dots on the top. It just makes it look a little bit more fancy and creates a pretty border. And when you bite into it, it changes colour. Make sure your pipe are beading along the bottom to neaten your cake up. And there you go, you have Ben 10. The colours are interchangeable, but just keep the cake topping as the same. Once again guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks with another cake.